is back, Fantasy is back, and Tears League is back. But before we start off with Big 12 review and what went on in week 1, we got a new voice, Miss Ashley Ritter. She a little shy. She don't want to be on the camera. She don't want to be on the camera, but she going to be doing all the voiceovers for these power rankings. I know I'm tired of hearing my voice all the time, so trying to switch it up this year. So tell me what you think at the end of the episode. Drop a comment below if you like Ashley doing the voiceovers.
With that being said, this is the week 1 results for Big 12. Iva versus Mountain. Iva won that one. Richie versus Chris. Richie took that game. Kimoy won against Breeze. Gino won against Shamoy. Plucky won against Rain. And Vashel won against Drew.
I ain't really get much to say about week 1. This is the second year in a row I lose to Iva at opening night, but I don't really have much to say. Gino and Richie, I feel they're gonna have a really good year. They came out firing, being honest, but I didn't get much to say.
Okay, and this is your week 2 Big 12 power rankings. Richie is 1, Gino is 2, Plucky is 3, Kimoy is 4, Vashel at 5, Iva is 6, Mountain at 7, Rain is 8, Chris is 9, Drew is 10, Shamoy at 11, and Breeze at 12. And that was your week 2 Big 12 power rankings.
And when it comes to these power rankings so early in the year, I don't really have much to say. Like, one moment Richie can be 1, and then next week he might be 12, or Breeze might be 12 and he might be 1 the following week. Like, it's too early to have a idea of the power rankings, but this is what we have for right now. And if you're new to the pod, on the right is the overall tiers record, wins loss, and then the left is the Big 12 records. But besides that, I don't get much to say.
Okay, and moving on to Richie's Big 12 parlay for week 2. In the East, we have Mountain versus Rain, Chris versus Shamoy, Vashel versus Kimoy. And in the West, Iva versus Richie, Drew versus Plucky, and Gino versus Breeze. The green is who he think is going to win. And in the box, we have his last week results. And this is your week 2 conference matchups. Any thoughts?
Nothing really right now. The only thing, like I said, if you're new to the pod, how I do my schedule is 1 week you will play the opposite conference. The entire conference will play the opposite conference, and we call that the road week. And then we have conference week where conference play each other within that week. But before we move on to tier 3, we get something a little different that we're doing this year. We have a weekly GM of the week, and this week we have Mr. Gino Fontaine. I'm number 1 GM starting off hot. GM of the week, and this is something I'm going to do every single week for Big 12 and Tier 3. I'm not doing it for Tier 2. I'm not doing it for Tier 1, and you know the situations where the other tiers. But yeah, this is your week 1 GM of the week for Big 12.
With that being said, we're moving on to Tier 3 Week 1 results. We have Jimbo versus Bread, with Jimbo winning. Ernie won against Ricky. Ish won against Chavo. Draco won against Manny. Turbo won against Risha. And Mr. Jed won against the unknown player.
So I know I see like an unknown person, and you're probably like, who the hell is this? Just know, like, we lost somebody in Tier 3. He's going through some personal issues, some personal problems. So I have to find somebody new to put into Tier 3. I can't say who the person is. That's conflict. But at the end of the year, y'all will know who the person is. I'll reveal the person, and I'm going to just address this person as unknown. It's an unfortunate situation that happened to Big 12. And yeah.
Moving on to Week 2 power rankings for Tier 3. We have Jimbo at 1, Turbo is 2, Ernie is 3, Ish is 4, Ricky at 5, Draco at 6, Chabo at 7, Jed at 8, Risha at 9, Manny at 10, Brett is 11, and 12 is the unknown player.
Again, so when it comes to these power rankings, again, don't really have much to say. It's too early in the year, but I expected Jimbo to be 1. I see Arnie at 3. And like I said, like Manny, for example, he had 10 right now, but next week he might be 1. Who knows? Like, it's too early.
Now we're going to move on to Gino's Tier 3 parlay for week 2. In the East, we have Draco versus Ernie, Jimbo versus Unknown, Ish versus Risha, Manny versus Brett, Jed versus Ricky, and Tobo versus Chabo. Again, the green is who he have to win. And last week he went 3 for 6. How you feel about that?
I'll say this, when I'm doing these parlays, I need to see a minimum of 4 for 6. Ain't no reason I seen 2 for 6. Ain't no reason I seen 3 for 6. Like, nah, like, y'all getting people losing their money, bro. And every week we're gonna tally the percentage. So yeah, 4 for 6. That's where we need to be at, 4 for 6. But before we move on to Tier 2, this is your GM of the week for Tier 3, Mr. Tobo French. Yeah, Tobo come out the league bussing. Yeah, and Mr. Rank 18 GM starting off hot first year in Tier 3. Congratulations for your, little award, little week 1 GM of the week.
Okay, moving on to Tier 2 week 1 results. We have Bash winning against Ras, MJ won against Jordan, Ian won against JP, Rishan won against Grove, Javon won against Rashid, and Brandon won against Demoy. And that was your week 1 Tier 2 results.
The only thing I want to key in for Tier 2 week 1 matchups is the Demoy versus Brandon game. That is a burner to start off the year. Boy, I ain't here for Demoy since. He ain't talking in chat since, so I know he hot. That's a boss chest. But besides that, I ain't gonna lie, I feel like Rich had an upset. I didn't expect that week from Grove and Ras versus Bash. That was a big game right there. Ras scored a lot. Bash just had a really good week. Besides that, we're gonna move on to Tier 2 week 2 power rankings.
We have Bash at 1, MJ at 2, Javon at 3, Ras at 4, Ian is 5, Brandon at 6, Rish at 7, Jordan at 8, Demoy at 9, Rashid at 10, JP is 11, and Grove at 12. And that was your week 2 Tier 2 power rankings.
Again, I don't really have much to say about it, but I know Demoy that's a bust chest. That's really all I have to say. So let me move on to the parlays for Tier 2.
Okay, moving on to Chris Tier 2 parlay for the week 2 matchups. In the East, we have Bash versus Rish, Demoy versus Jordan, Ian versus Javon, and in the West, we have Ras versus MJ, Rashid versus JP, and Grove versus Brandon. And last week, we have our next person going 3 for 6.
And again, 3 for 6 is not cutting it. Like, me want no breaking even.
Okay. Moving on to Tier 1 and their week 1 results.
I let you know from right now, Ash. This tier right here, just run through it. You can call the names wrong. I don't even care. Like, just run through it. Like, this tier, we everybody probably don't lag out. We run it through it quick.
No, but they are Tier 2. They deserve a little time, man.
Okay. Hurry up. Run through it.
Dylan versus Pierre, Lack versus Rhino, Shari versus Gillo, Joseph versus Chad.
Okay. But yeah. Matter of fact, that's too much time. Moving on. They done already. That's too long.
Well, we're going to just move on to the power rankings for week 2. We have Pierre at 1, Lack at 2, Sharif at 3, Marcel at 4, Kyle is 5, Gilbert at 6, Joseph at 7, Slick is 8, Kerry is 9, Chad at 10, 11 is Rhino, and Dylan is at 12. I'm going to ask you what you think, even though I know you're going to say nothing.
Moving on. nah, I always give tier one hell. You, if you give me effort in my tiers, I gonna give you more camera type. But I ain't get much to say about tier one right now, man. It's too early. It's too early. It's too early. But I'll tell you before we close out this episode, I ain't gonna lie, I rusty bad. I am rusty. I ain't do this in months. So bear with your boy. It's actually first time too, so bear with her. But it's like I said, this is week 2 power rankings for the Tiers League. I appreciate Ayo. Much love. We out.